An example, if you are linked to by many people, then it's a bigger deal. In the personal finance space, if you are linked to by MSN Money or Yahoo Finance or CNN Money, it's a big deal. PageRank, which is Google's very secretive way of ranking how important your page is on the internet. You got to be around a while before you get a PageRank, but the higher your PageRank, the more impressive supposedly your blog is to advertisers, etc. The higher up you'll be in your Google search ranking results, which is really very important because typically, from your own user experience using Google, if you're searching for something, it's typically the first or the second result that you get back. You want to be up there.
So it's like on a page, not a whole site.
It's usually the front page of your site.
Unless there's something you presented something very interesting that you didn't realize it was important.
Could be, but I mean, typically it'll be the front page of your site. It's very unusual. And basically, the more eyeballs you put up, the more people you got who are reading your blog regularly, the more popular, and the more people will be willing to pay you for whatever services. And then most of it is still around advertising. As much as people try to expand into other spaces, it still is mostly about advertising.
You covered
So is there a charge to sign in, or is it a?
No, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Well, it was whether there's a distinction between a web page and a blog, or a blog kind of web page, or is a blog a journal, personal journal presented on a web page?
A blog is a journal presented on a web page, typically. Okay, so where to start? Okay. Well, if the whole idea of blogging intrigued you, where do you start? I think there actually is a blogging for dummies book out there, but I haven't seen it. And actually, if people are interested in blogging, typically they won't be looking for a blogging for dummies book. They'll be looking for something like that. But before you actually start, consider what you know, your time constraints, your writability, all of that. The best blogs are focused, updated regularly, and focused. So typically, it's focused on some particular subject, whatever it is. Typically, it's updated pretty regularly. Because if somebody updates their blog like once a month, you're not very likely to go back there. But if somebody updates their blog daily or 5 times a week, you're much more likely to check it out regularly. And well written. If you can't write, you can work on it. But if your blog is not well written, then you're probably going to have people who aren't real interested. The best bloggers are fine writers who can produce quality content quickly and network not in the computer sense as much as network with other people who are in the same kind of space or interested in the same kind of topics. So all those things are things to consider at the start before you even really start putting virtual pen to virtual page. Consider what you know, what you would like. Now that said, okay, about blogging, what you know, because I actually believe that pretty strongly that if you're going to have a blog, it probably needs to be focused pretty strongly, and you want to have it be about something you know a lot. There are people who will blog about stuff they don't know all that well because they're trying to learn about it. And actually, in the personal finance blogosphere, that's what you see a lot. A lot of times, the people who are actually quite successful at personal finance bloggers aren't necessarily the ones who've been studying about it for a few years and trying to figure it out. It's the people who are in debt and trying to get themselves out. Okay. And their small victories, whatever that is, say, building up a $500 emergency fund, paying off your first credit card, and things like that. It's actually quite interesting that sometimes those are quite popular. Maybe people who are readers aren't necessarily as interested in the nuts and bolts of the subject as much as somebody's personal experience going through it. No, seriously, okay. Seriously, where can you start? Okay, well, you can start for free. Okay, you don't actually have to pay anyone any money to get started with a blog. There are several free hosting services that we show this there. WordPress.com. I'm sorry, WordPress.com We'll host blogger.com, LiveJournal, Blogspot, like that. All those are free services where you can actually start a blog at. Okay? You don't have to set anything up yourself. You can just go ahead and use it, and they got some pre-made templates for you that you can choose from. So, you know, like there's an example of LiveJournal. That's my personal blog that's on LiveJournal. Okay. There's like this really large like ad over there. I don't get any money from that ad, but LiveJournal will host my personal blog. The one thing to consider if you are going to use a free service like this to host your blog, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not going to be as flexible as if you host your own, if you roll your own. And if you know your options in terms of making money for it are going to be limited because the service usually is the one who's actually making money. Really seriously, dude. Okay, if you're really serious about starting a blog, you really want to start coming up with some content. You really want to start to see, okay, how much can I write about this thing? Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to start a blog and abandon it. Okay? And studies are showing right now that a lot of times people are gung-ho about starting a blog and they go at it pretty seriously for about 3 months and then they give up. And a lot of times the reason, there's usually 2 reasons that people give up. One is that they figure out that this is not as easy as it looks. Okay? And the second reason that people give up is they realize that they just can't quite come up with enough content. So start coming up with content. Content. It's all about content. It doesn't matter how good your blog looks. That's a bit of an overstatement. But if you can't come up with quality content, there's no reason that people are going to do content. Did I mention content? Your content is the most important part of it. Okay? Yes, it is nice to have a real nice theme. It's nice to have like pretty pictures, embedded video, and all that. All those things are worthwhile, but it's really about your content. Okay, what are you able to come up with? So, see if you can come up with at least 5 posts to start your blog, which is basically like a workbook, right? You know, come up with 5 posts about whatever subject I've decided I'm interested in. And consider some kind of posting schedule. I am going to try and start this blog and I'll see how it does, and I'm going to post 3 times a week. Okay, great. Okay. I am going to try and start this blog and I'm going to see if I can post like once a week or so. Well, then that's fine. But if you're going to post once a week, people aren't going to be coming all that often. But if you post every day, then they got a reason to come back every day. Okay, so how about technically? What do you do to start a blog technically? Okay. Now, so if you've gone to, somebody who's hosting your blog, LiveJournal, blogger.com, Blogspot, or whatever, and you've written a few posts and you come up with your posting schedule and you're like, okay, I can do this, and you've proven to yourself you're able to do it for a while. And for a while to me means probably about a month at the minimum. If you can get through that 3-month wall and you're still going, okay, then it's really time to think, okay, let's be serious. Get your own domain. You can go to GoDaddy. GoDaddy is still probably the best place to get a domain, at least. They're pretty cheap. Whatever name you want for your blog. Consider a hosting service. You could get a domain name and point it at, Blogspot. But you probably want to go ahead and get your own hosting. You can get hosting pretty economically. You can go to Site5, you can go to GoDaddy, you can go to DreamHost, you can go to Working. There's a lot of different services that you can use out there.
Can you mix and match if you already have a website?